Okay, this is a video on two-point perspective. You should have watched the first video on sketching warm-up, which will help a lot in this situation. For this, you'll need at least one piece of paper. I prefer a piece of white notebook or a white printer paper, but if you have a notebook paper or sketch paper or graph paper, those will work as well. But I like starting with a blank sheet. Okay, as learned in the first video, we really want to use our arm as a machine. Okay, not using your wrist and trying to sketch, though we call this sketching, but this is the technique that does this properly. I think a pencil may be the best for you if you have one. I'm using a pen, so it's a little easier to see, but I go back and forth between both. You just can't erase a pen, and it might be easier for you as a beginner to use a pencil. All right, so with two-point perspective drawing, it starts with what we call the horizon line, or it's also known as eye level. So we're just going to make a straight line across the page. It would be easy for me to grab a ruler and do this, but I really like you to learn how to do this freehand, because rulers are cumbersome and they take more time, where once you get this down, it's very quick and easy. So try to do it freehand. If you really have a bad line, you can use a ruler. Okay, so again, you can see I'm kind of figuring out where my line is going to be, and then I just go for it. And there's my straight line across the page. Notice I did angle the paper a little bit to make it easier for my arm. All right, near the ends of that line, put a dot and a dot. And somewhere near the middle, we're going to draw a vertical line about yay big. You'll see that we will be adding lines up here or down here as we go along. All right, now the simple rule, there's two rules for this. One is you draw vertical lines, or your lines go through the dots. So I'm going to start here at the end of this line and go through that dot, and I may have to rotate my paper. And then I'm going to go through the dot this way. And it's good to kind of figure out where that's going to be. And now I do the same this way. I can flip the paper upside down if I need to. It's not a problem. And if you have a workspace where you can rotate your paper. Through there. And I missed a little bit. Not a big deal for this. I could correct it, but this is going to work out just fine. Okay. It looks weird, but what we're making here is a cube. So now all I need to add are two more lines. And here is my cube. It's kind of nice to outline it with a little bit of thicker lines. If I was using pencil, I could erase some of these lines, or like I can erase here and here in this center line. This is a cube, and that could turn into lots of things. It could turn into a toaster, it could turn into a house, or it could turn into something in between like a car. We have no real scale. This line here, the horizon line, as you'll see, is not that critical. So if I had an eraser, or I could erase right here and here. Okay. For simplicity, let me use this still. Now I'm going to draw a line up here. Let's do it down here. Vertical line. The rules are it goes through the dot or it's vertical. vertical meaning up and down. And I really don't have to go all the way to the dot. I can just, okay, that's going to go through the dot if I continued. And that's going to go through the dot. And I will rotate my paper again. That would go through the dot, and that would go through the dot. Now I can make two vertical lines. And the top, let me thicken this so it is a little more visible. The top of this line goes through that dot, and the top of this line goes through the far dot, or the diminishing points. So that would continue through that dot, and this one continue through that dot that way, and there I have a box, or and this is what's called perspective, because we see things as they disappear. I'll draw another box up here. You'll see how this one works. Vertical line through the dot, through the dot, through the dot, through the dot. This side goes through that dot, through the dot, and this side goes through the opposite dot. And there's a box as if I'm looking from below, looking up at the box. That is basic 2-point perspective. We will continue with the next video.